Once upon a time, in a lush river valley, a young prince looked out of his castle window at the busy town below. In the company of his father, he would walk confidently, but he knew in his heart that this outward show of composure was merely making up for his ambivalence and his deep-seated fear that he wasn't good enough. Tired of having to live out a lie, he decided to venture beyond the kingdom, to the wise Zen Master Hoshi. When the prince arrived, he saw Master Hoshi meditating in the bitter cold. The prince approached the old sage and began describing the rebellion in his mind. "O wise one, I cannot face my father, for I am a fraud. I pretended to possess the confidence and wisdom for a man of my stature, but am nothing more than a pale imitation. He expects only the best from me, but I'm afraid I can't live up to his expectations. If he lays the burden of responsibility on me, I will crumble under its weight. That time will come eventually. So how can I become someone I'm not?" The monk opened his eyes and looked at the prince. "I know what you seek, but the answer lies not with me. You must accompany the other pilgrims to the shrine and light a candle as ritual demands. There you will find your answer." The prince was perplexed, but agreed to the strange demands and met up with the pilgrims in the monastery courtyard. The shrine, as it happens, was located on a mountain situated deeper in the mountain range, where the elevation rose steeply and the cold was excruciating. They began the journey, and the prince immediately recognized that this was a near impossible feat. There was no trail, as the region was inhospitable. There were no trees to light a fire, and there was nowhere to camp in the deep snow. The journey to the shrine would have to be made with nothing more than their will and determination. Trudging through the deep snow and navigating jagged rock faces, the prince felt the cold of the blizzard down to the bone and questioned whether he could make it. But it was dark, and there was nowhere to move but forward. He had come all this way, and he wouldn't walk away with a mind that cowered before every challenge. As they approached the last stretch of the journey, they had to cross a perilous glacier without the tools that would allow them to cross it safely. The group was weary and tired from the journey, and very reluctant to make the crossing. The prince knew that he hadn't come all this way to cower from his final challenge. Without any hesitation, he secured his footing on the glacier ice and, pushing against the freezing wind, inched closer to the shrine. The pilgrims, inspired by his surge of energy, quickly followed suit. After navigating across the crevices, the small group finally made it to the sacred cave and lit their candles at the shrine. Upon returning to the monastery, he again approached the Zen master. "Master, I have completed the journey with the other pilgrims, but nothing at the shrine answered my questions. My body is worn, and I have nothing to show for it. Was I supposed to discover strength that I didn't know I had?" The Zen master smiled. "Young prince, you are quite right. You risked injury, and perhaps even death, getting to that shrine. It takes no small amount of courage and faith to do that, so you are capable of more than your imagination permits. But there are things you have yet to understand. Lesson 1. Impermanence and change. In life, change is the only constant. Just as the seasons shift and the rivers flow, so too does our journey through existence. There is comfort in knowing that troubled times do not persist indefinitely. That is how we bear the hardships of loss and revel in the delight of happiness. Change is inevitable, and so we shouldn't dwell on it. Remember that the Buddha says, desire is the root of all suffering. Lesson 2. The path of endurance. To bear the pain of impermanence, endurance must follow suit. Endurance is not the ability to withstand physical pain, but instead, it is the reservoir of strength deep inside your heart that allows you to overcome adversity. In your path will be daunting obstacles, but you must press onward with unwavering resolve, refusing to succumb to doubt or despair. With each challenge you face, remember that within you lies the power to persevere. Lesson 3. Letting go of attachments. Release the chains of attachment that bind you to the material world. It is not fit for anyone who is to be a master of their mind to be a slave to their possessions. They are merely objects that bring short moments of contentment that dissolve to become the background of the heart. Attachment is like grasping at the wind. No matter how tightly we hold on, it slips through our fingers, leaving us empty-handed and longing for more. It is the source of much discontent and dissatisfaction as we constantly seek to acquire and possess that which we believe will bring us happiness. True freedom is found in letting go. Lesson 4. Mindfulness and awareness. When we are in the thick of life's distractions, we relinquish control of our minds and forget who we are and what we're doing. Mindfulness is the only remedy for a wandering mind. It is the practice of being fully present in the moment, of cultivating a deep awareness of our thoughts, feelings, and surroundings without judgment. It is the art of living with intention and attention, of savoring each experience as it arises. If you wish to remain steadfast in your resolve, you must anchor yourself in the present moment with a profound sense of awareness. Lesson 5. The illusion of the self. Understand that your sense of self is but a transient illusion. When we set ourselves up on a course of action, we are confronted with the ego self, an expression of fear and insecurity, of pain and tragedy that paralyzes us before we even begin. Understand that it is but a fragile construct, an illusion that crumbles in the face of true experience. The self is not a fixed entity, and who we are changes from moment to moment. Beyond the ego's grasp lies the interconnectedness of all beings. Lesson 6. Compassion and service. Through your journey, you will have understood that true fulfillment and enlightenment comes not from self-serving pursuits, but from selfless acts of compassion and service to others. Compassion is a deep awareness of the suffering of another, coupled with the wish to relieve it. The sincerest form of existence is to be of aid to people who are less endowed than us. A desire to serve others invokes in us a stronger resolve and purpose than if we were to do it for ourselves. Rationality was never man's distinguishing feature. It was always empathy. Lesson 7. The middle way. If you wish to assume power over your mind, you must balance it between two extremes. Only then will you be able to navigate the complexities of life with clarity and discernment. The middle way teaches that true happiness comes from finding a balance between material desires and spiritual aspirations, between worldly responsibilities and contemplative solitude. It is not a path of renunciation or indulgence, but rather a journey of self-discovery. Between the 1,000 untrodden paths, only one brings peace, and it is up to you to find it.